In this video, I'd like to show you the new functionality available in Nerdio Manager for WVD version 2.10 that moves the Azure files and Azure NetApp file configuration from the settings integration page. It used to be here. There were a couple of tiles on this page that allowed you to configure Azure files. But as more and more features were added to Azure Files and Azure NetApp File Management, we created a new upper level menu called Storage. And within Storage, you can see Azure Files and Azure NetApp Files. So let's start out with Azure Files. Azure Files gives you a list of all of the configured and linked Azure files in a table. You can see the Azure file name, and if you click on it, it will take you directly to that share in the Azure portal. You can see the subscription and the resource group. Clicking on the resource group will take you there as well. You can see the storage account and the region. You can see whether it is domain joined and what AD domain it's joined to. You can see the type of Azure files this is, whether it's a standard storage or premium storage, and you can see the usage and the quota. And if it's Azure Files Premium, you can even see the current server latency over the last 5-minute interval, and you can configure auto-scaling. Auto-scaling is a topic of another video, so go ahead and look that up if you're interested in how auto-scale works. But as you can see, you can manage lots of features of Azure Files right from the screen. We have our familiar link Azure Files and add Azure Files button right here. We can link an existing Azure Files in an existing account, storage account, or we can add a new Azure Files. This works just like it used to. You can create a new storage account or select an existing one. You can choose your performance tier, give it a name, select your provision capacity, decide who will have access to the share by either specifying users and groups directly or by syncing them with existing host pools so that all the users of that host pool will have access. And you have the option to join Azure files directly to an Azure to an Active Directory domain. That's done by configuring a temporary VM that you can customize the settings of this VM here, or just leave the defaults. And you can even enable the SMB multi-channel capability, which improves Azure File Premium performance. In addition to that, you have a little icon here that allows you to grab the path to the UNC path to Azure Files. So if we were to click here and see what it actually copies, it will generate the correct path for us. And then there are several options available from the dropdown. We have our Manage button, and the Manage button will let us manage permissions and provision capacity, as well as SMB multi-channel. We can manage file handles to unlock any locked files. We can copy the UNC path, or we can unlink a Azure file share if we wanted to. There is no way to delete and destroy an Azure account or Azure files. That you will have to do through the Azure portal. This page allows you to create, manage, and auto-scale Azure file shares that are commonly used for FSLogix storage and MSIX application package storage. The second page we have here is for Azure NetApp files. Very similar to Azure files, you can link an existing Azure NetApp files volume or add a new one. That will do it for you automatically. Once it's added, you can see the file, the volume name. You can click on it and browse to it in the Azure portal. You can see the account name. You can see whether it's AD joined, the host pool, what the status is, and what the usage and storage tier are, and several other management capabilities with auto-scaling for ANF coming very shortly as well. So this is the new storage module that lets you manage Azure files and Azure NetApp files in Nerdio Manager for WVD version 2.10 and newer. Hope you found this useful, and I will see you in future videos.